Guys, welcome to PHT Café. I'm Edwin.
I'm Danny.
Yes, and here we are again. Here we are once again.
I hated every second of that.
So we bring this show to you talking about real estate. He's a home inspector, and I'm a real estate broker associate. And we come to you to talk about real estate, obviously, and the industry, and bring you a little bit of fun and hopefully a laugh or two.
There you go. And a little bit of knowledge, maybe?
A little bit of knowledge, yeah. I thought you were like signaling me. I'm like, we didn't work on signals. What does this mean?
He's like, it's because you watched that baseball documentary.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm like, I don't know what that means, Rich. I don't know what that means. Open up there. You got a little pelito coming out of your.
ah, that's my nipple.
Hopefully it's not connected. Literally.
Imagine I just have one really long nipple hair.
All right. So no nipple hairs here. I mean, I do have nipples hair. Do you have nipples hair?
I am covered in hair.
Yeah, you are. You're very hairy. You're very
Yeah,
hairy, man.
I'm a very hairy person.
So, a little bit of knowledge. Today, I wanted to take a moment to talk about my brother. Yes, my younger brother, Danny.
You know, it happened again. I actually
No way.
it happened again. We have a mutual client who I did an inspection for a long time, and he was referring me for somebody who had some roof damage in the hurricane. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, but you guys never actually mentioned it. Like, who is the older brother? And I was like, God. So mad, dude. I started like shaking. And he's like, you know, he's giving me money essentially. He's referring me to somebody and telling me about how great of a job I did and all that. But as soon as he said that, even though he started giving me all these compliments and said, oh, your inspection was incredible, you reported, blah, blah, I just like, you look old. And I was like, he's mentioned something about your sneakers. He's like, oh, you know, but he like acts young, like he likes his sneakers and stuff.
So yeah, my younger brother, Danny.
Yeah, that's right.
We are one. We've mentioned this before, but in case you hadn't watched all of our episodes, which you have not, we are 5 brothers. I am the oldest. He's literally the middle one, and then we have 2 other ones: Tuti, Saudi, and Sammy. Shout out, well, to Tuti because the other 2 don't watch.
Yeah,
they don't,
and that's not his real name.
His name is real. That's none of their real names.
Yeah. We all go by nicknames.
Yes. We won't talk about ours. So, so I wanted to interview. I wanted to inspect. I was going to say inspect. I wanted to inspect my brother. Nope. That's a different.
Not in this state.
That's a different.
Maybe a little bit.
All right. So, anyways, I wanted to interview my little brother. Just talk a little bit, about. Have you talk to us a little bit about yourself and, how you got into owning Cosmos Inspections.
Yeah.
A lot of folks that watch know you, but, some don't. So what's up? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So in 1987, in the Canal Zone of Panama, a baby boy was born. That was me. Fun fact, I've been listening to a podcast about the history of reggaeton.
Oh,
and
me too.
I found out that the guy who actually started it grew up where I was born. He grew up in Fort Clayton in Panama, probably around the time that I was born there. Yeah, he was there. His mom was cleaning. She was a cleaning lady on the military base, and back then they let them live on the base.
Yeah. Well, we had a lady too.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That lived.
What if it was the same lady?
Oh my God.
That would have been wild.
Did we create reggaeton indirectly?
Yes, we did by giving her a job. Yeah, so that was an interesting fact. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't either.
But he was the guy that started. He was the guy that started making reggae music, but translating all those songs into Spanish, which is kind of how that all started.
Yeah,
so
that was one of the. That's El General.
El General. So
they do talk.
They met. Yeah. So this guy started, and El General is the one who blew it up.
Yeah,
he ended up moving to New York.
Yeah.
And so I went on a kick of listening to El General, which I don't know if you've done recently. Wasn't the best lyricist. It's a lot of that.
No.
Mamita, mamita, rukukidukitika, mamita, mamita, but you're gonna ganinta, mamita. Like it's a lot of that.
Every song nowadays.
Yeah,
Exactly. So he started, but it's, it makes you want to dance. So I was playing it for the baby, and she was just like, like raging out to it. Then I played it for my wife, and she was like, if you don't turn off this garbage right now, she's like, this is not what we're doing. I was like,
she's like,
mamita.
Boom,
So that
boom.
was good. So yes, so that's where I was born. You were there.
Very cool. Yeah, I was there, yeah. So we lived in. I lived in. We have different moms. We have the same dad. So I lived 3 years with my dad in Panama, in Fort Clayton, and I think I moved there in 80. Oh my gosh, 88. No, I'm sorry, 87, and that's when you were born. Yeah. So you were born No, actually, I moved there. I'm sorry, 86, end of 86, and then Danny was born November of that following year. In Panama.
Great job. You know when my birthday is.
Yes.
That's so
November
beautiful.
9th.
That's not it.
It's not.
Yeah. So, but I don't think that's what we actually wanted to talk about. We went on kind of a tangent there.
Listen,
so I lived a whole life, and now in my 30s, I started Cosmos Inspections.
That's it.
So we lived in the military bases. Ended up moving to Florida, where you lived with your mom.
Yep.
And yeah, a lot of people don't know that. We are very close, but we became very close later in life.
Right.
We didn't spend all our childhoods together, mostly because our childhoods happened in different decades.
Literally,
But and then when we moved to Florida, that's when we became very close. And I was telling somebody that the other day. They have a 12-year-old and a 2-year-old. They just had a surprise baby way later in life. And they were like, yeah, it's hard because they don't want to play together and stuff. And I was like, just you wait.
Yeah.
When you guys are in your 30s, we got close when I was in my teens. So, when there's a teenager or like in their 20s and the other one's in 30s, they're going to become so close.
My oldest daughter, she's 22. My youngest is 13. So there's that 9-year difference. And then they have EJ in the middle, which he kind of gets along with both. But the two girls, like they're literally a decade apart. So, and I was telling them the other day too, like when you guys are like in your 20s and 30s, you'll be close.
Yeah.
Because Michaela, the youngest, she's all about Melody. She wants to be here as a 22-year-old sister.
She's
But it's
so cool and hip.
And Melody's just like, yeah, I'm going to New York. Bye. It's like, what? Yeah. So eventually, hopefully, they'll be close. So so you lived in New York. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, that was a big part, right? Because we went through a traumatic event. We'll go into that another day.
That seems like a bummer of an episode.
Yeah, it's
we
gonna
were
be a
talking about
bummer.
our dad passing away.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
I was 16, he passed away.
Yeah, he was 16. I was 26. He passed away. And then after that, obviously, you were finishing high school. Once you graduated, pretty soon after you graduated, you took off.
I went to
and you
Valencia
left.
first, and then I went to
New York.
New York. I lived in New York for 11 years. I just became a man. Like I just wanted to figure life out, and I didn't want to do it here. And so I lived in New York, in Brooklyn, for 11 years, and I loved it. It was a beautiful experience. That's what your daughter was just visiting New York, and Melissa messaged her, and she was like, "This is so great that you're doing this." She's like, "You go to New York as much as possible. Like it's so great to be young there," which is true. I lived my whole 20s in New York, and I loved it. And then right before I hit my 30s, I was like, I'm too old for this shit. I gotta get out. I need grass.
Yeah, you literally moved here and turned 30.
I moved here and turned 30. Yeah, and then so then I moved here, started working with you. That's when we started this stuff right here. Worked with you for a little bit. Then after that, I worked for a property management company / commercial builder. I did that for a couple years, and then I was laid off. By COVID. COVID laid me off. And then I started this company. It literally took me 2 days to figure out what I wanted to do. I had done inspections for them already.
Right.
So I kind of actually thought about being an appraiser.
We did. We talked about that.
But then you had to do like an apprenticeship and stuff. And I had told myself I will literally never work for somebody else again. Because I had like the most job security anyone could possibly have. Like he treated us like family. And then one day he was like, "Oh, but you're not really family." Like it was like, "Yeah, I treat you like family, but Not really, right?
But you don't pay family.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody in his family works for that company, and they all kept their jobs.
They actually are family.
Yes, they are. Which I get. I don't.
Yeah, of course.
Listen,
You're the same way.
Nepotism. I get it. I'd do it if I was rich. My whole Saudi would have a job.
Yeah.
So I got laid off on that. 2 days later, I started taking the course and learning everything. My wife's a teacher.
Yeah.
So she, at that point, was on like half days, just kind of, she was working until like noon online. So yeah, I would just do schooling on my computer till noon, and then we would just hang out. We actually had a really great time during COVID, to be honest. It was
Well, see, okay, let me put a little pause there. So you kind of skipped over the part where you got married.
Yes. Oh, okay. Sorry.
And this person that you married had a lot to do with the other parts too. So it wasn't like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've known my wife since I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
We met freshman year of high school.
That's not when she became your wife, but you've known her.
Yes. I child brided her right up. No, we met when we were 14. We started dating, I think, when we were 16, maybe. Mm-hmm. On and off for 4 years, as kids do, until we were like 20.
Were you guys dating when Papi passed or no?
We were not at that time. We were on and off.
Okay.
One of our 43 offs.
It wasn't off.
And then, and then she went to college in St. Pete. I ended up moving to New York, and we just stayed friends for all those years. She would visit me in New York, to the delight of all my girlfriends. She decided to get her teaching license.
Sarcasm.
She decided to get her teaching license, and the license she was going to get in New York. So she actually lived with me for a month while she got her license to teach abroad, so she could move overseas. And also to the delight of my girlfriend. I remember that conversation was fun. Where it was like, oh, hey, my ex-girlfriend's going to come live with me for a month. And she's like, well, I guess so am I. So yeah, she definitely moved in. And yeah. And we were just like really good friends for a very long time. And
cool.
She ended up moving to Korea and was in Korea teaching English for 3 years and moved back the year after I moved back to Florida. Mm-hmm. I was with somebody. I stopped being with that person, and Melissa and I got back together. And I think we were married less than a year later, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was definitely less than a year.
Yeah, I think it was less than a year.
They got married in, was it February?
It was
February of 2020.
February 29th.
And because of that awful thing you did, we all got COVID.
Yes.
Because a month later, the pandemic hit.
3 weeks later, I got fired. I was like, yay, I'm married. They're like, and now you have no money.
Now you have no money, and you're on lockdown for 2 years.
Yeah. But luckily, they had that
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
That completely obnoxious unemployment.
Oh, that's right.
That's wild. Right. They're like, hey, let me give you $600 a week. You don't have to do anything.
That's a shame.
So I used that time to get my license and started the company, and we're still married. It's been 2.5 years.
Congrats.
But it's like, we got married quick, but we didn't need to get to know each other.
Yeah.
We know literally everying about each other.
20 years is
20 years is a long time to know somebody.
And then, about a year, it's going on a year and a half now almost. You had a little baby.
Yeah, less than a year of being married.
Less than a year of being married.
She got pregnant. On purpose.
Of course.
On purpose. Rock and roll.
Good. Nice. You guys figured it out.
We did. It was actually because of COVID.
Yeah.
It was just, my wife was literally like, we can't do anything fun. We might as well just have the baby now. It's like, okay. She's like, we can't go out and drink anyway. I could go 10 months sober.
COVID baby. My first niece, Story Marisol Perez.
Yeah. So she is
a beautiful baby.
I get made fun of my friends that they're like, you became that person. Like, all I do is post about my baby online. And I love being a dad. I dig it. It's fun.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, I took Monday off because her daycare is closed and Melissa works. So I'm just going to have like a Disney day. She's a year and a half. Like, she's basically a potato. She doesn't do shit. Like, I don't know. You take her to Disney and she's
a walking
just like,
potato.
Like, that's it. That's the extent. She can't get on anything. She can't do anything. But we have the passes, so she'll go to Disney. She goes. Yeah. So I started this company when the market was like, it was almost like a, right? And then it just like sped up and everything exploded. And I was like, I'm a business genius. Nobody can touch me. And then like 3 months ago, it was like, oh yeah, by the way. It's like, how much money did you save?
Yeah. You figure out the balance, right? You'll be fine. You know those hard times will come, but then they're followed by pretty amazing times sometimes, right? Yeah. Like the best time of your life and then the worst time of your life.
And then the worst. Like just in the last month. Last month we had a bad month, and I was like, I've made a mistake. I've put my family in danger. And then this month already, I'm like, wee! Yay! Everything's good again.
We're rich!
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. I'm rich. I'm poor. I'm rich. I'm poor. We're not going to eat. Sell the baby.
So, tell me a little bit about you personally, right? Like, we were talking a little earlier with Rich about you just really being into, obviously you read a lot, which I knew, and you're very much into like fantasy stuff. Like, where did that come from? Have you always been like this?
Sci-fi. I have always been like this.
Yeah.
Yes. I just like it. I like, life is lifey enough.
Life is lifey.
My entertainment, I want it to be magic.
Yeah,
science fiction.
Lightsabers.
I love that stuff. Just I
remember when the new Star Wars movies were coming out. That I was like I've been into Star Wars. I've always liked Star Wars, but I haven't been like into Star Wars. And I found out then how much you were into Star Wars.
Yeah,
like you were like, have you read the 7,000 books and novels that exist? I'm like,
I've honestly probably read like
I've seen the 6 movies.
Yeah, I read like
you're like what?
I read like 35 books in that universe. Yeah, I've
35 books.
Yeah,
I saw 6 movies. I thought I was an expert, and he's like, but have you heard about the squadron of Gulmagar?
Do you know about Luke Skywalker's great grandson, Cade Skywalker? Because I fucking do.
Cade Skywalker.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Have you heard of Cade Skywalker, Rich?
Rich just looked at us like, ugh. He's like, and you have a wife? She's real? Yeah, she's real.
Is it on Netflix?
Is it on Netflix? Well, you were talking about Game of Thrones, how it's like it's fantasy for like normal people, which I think is as far as I'm gonna go with fantasy stuff.
I like Game of Thrones, but it's fantasy for everybody.
Yeah,
it's fantasy for everybody. They put things in there that keep people's attention, even people who aren't really into that, which is great. That's how they make the money, Showing some boobies, main characters die every episode. Love it. It's very exciting. They keep it going. That's not real fantasy. Real fantasy. We were talking to Rich, and he was like, oh, the new Lord of the Rings, it was so slow. And I was like, man, you should try reading Lord of the Rings. That bro goes 10 pages describing leaves. Like,
what?
That's seriously. He's like, and it was the best leaf, the greenest of leaves, a leaf with veins that showed the years of its. Like, it's like stuff like that. Yeah, it's wild, and I love it. I'm like, oh my god, this leaf is incredible.
You're also into whiskey. You turned me into a whiskey lover.
Do. Specifically, I like all whiskeys, but I like bourbon. You're more of a Scotch guy, right?
I'm more of a Scotch guy.
Yeah. I love bourbon.
I mean, honestly, I like all of it, but yeah, I tend to go into Scotch usually. But I've been drinking more bourbon recently.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you have. I noticed that. I noticed you had bourbon at the house.
I got this. This is technically whiskey too. It's Japanese whiskey.
Is it Suntory?
It's Suntory. Yeah. Had a little Suntory recently. Liz gave me the smoker. A smoker.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
For the whiskey to make some smoky drinks. That's delicious.
A fun fact.
Fun fact.
One of my legs is longer than the other. Yeah,
it's true.
It is true. I wear a lift.
He does.
In my left shoe to align my hips because one of my legs is longer than the other. Yeah. It's only about. Rich is like looking down. He's like, what? It's like.
That's why he can't wear Jordans, Rich.
It's like No, you could put a lift in Jordans. It's like 3/4 of an inch, but yeah, it's a noticeable difference that was ruining my spine. So I had to start wearing an orthopedic
Was that
lift.
a thing that happened, or you were just? Is that a?
I don't know. I don't know. It could have been through. I got hurt all the time as a kid, falling out of windows and shit. So
you did. He did. That's a fun fact. Yeah, I mean, not fun at the time. But yeah, you fell out of a damn window.
I sure did.
Some people say you jumped.
Just one person says that I jumped.
Oh, okay.
One person. I did it. I slipped. It was my fault. But I didn't just go, wee! That's not what happened.
Okay, wait, tell us about that because that's a funny story. So you fell out of the window, and all of a sudden, what happens after that?
After I fell out of the window, my mom came outside crying because she had left the windows open and told us not to go upstairs, probably because one of us would fall out because we're all psychos. And she started hitting me. She was so scared about me hurting myself and so mad that I disobeyed that she's like started like, and I was like, what's happening? Why are you hitting me? And it's funny. I remember our dad came home a little bit later, and I was like sitting on the couch because he was going to take me to the hospital. And the first thing I said to him when he walked in was, "She hit me." And he just looks at me and goes, "You hit him?" And she was like, "Ah!"
I didn't think you were going to share the thing about your leg. It's such
it is what it is.
it is what it is.
Listen, I am finally at the age where I no longer care about being me. You grow up and you're
Yeah,
so
right, yeah.
self-conscious and all that. That's all gone.
Yeah.
That is washed away. Give me a lightsaber. Put a lift in my shoe. I don't care.
Pour me a bourbon.
Yeah, pour me a bourbon and I am good to go. To Hogwarts we fly.
All right, man. So we are, as we mentioned, we're in real estate. Cosmos Inspections.
Yes.
Where can they find you and find the company? Online?
Cosmos Inspections, everything. Online, Instagram, Facebook, my website. Here.
You need home inspections or any type of inspections, insurance inspections, call them up. I'm Edwin J. Perez, Edwin J. Perez Real Estate Group, brokered by eXp Realty. Google Edwin J. Perez. You should be able to find me. We also, Rich is super nice. He puts our little, is it here, Rich? Am I in the right place? Is it here?
Can I hold it?
Put him right there, Rich. You can find us on Instagram and everywhere else. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Shaky, shaky. Shaky, 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 shaky. Dude, seriously?
Okay, next time.